Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So today's episode is a brand new kind of episode that I hope that you enjoy. I'm calling it 20 for 20. That is 20 minutes for $20. A, way that I can show you how to build around a commander on a very low budget, very effectively, very efficiently, and in the shortest amount of time that I thought was actually possible. So with all that said, let's jump into it. I'm going to talk about the commander first, and then we will start the timer, and I will show you how I would build around that one. So, the commander for this 20 for 20 is Obeka, Splitter of Seconds, a 2/5 Ogre Warlock with Menace that costs 1 and Grixis colors. Whenever Obeka deals common damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. So, yeah, over the years we have gotten a lot of upkeep triggers that, well, I am one of those players that may not do the best job of keeping track of, but with this kind of a commander, you definitely are going to be doing that. And in fact, you're going to be getting that a lot more. All those upkeep triggers, you get more and more and more with the more damage that you output with this commander. So, the objective for this deck, the objective for this commander is to, well, make it evasive, help it hit harder, and get a lot of things in play that have upkeep triggers that we can use and abuse, getting those upkeep triggers a ton throughout the game with this. So, we want value, we want to hit hard, and we want to decimate our opponents in all those ways. Let's jump into the first tactic that I am going to be building around, and let's start the timer. And let's start now. So, first up, let's talk about getting through. We want to get our commander through on our opponents so we can get that combat damage trigger. And we've got equipment that can help us do that. We can grant flying to our commander. We already have Menace with our commander, which is nice. Again, can't be blocked by, just one creature. It has to be blocked by 2 or more. Giving it flying can usually ensure that we get through on at least one opponent, essentially. So, yeah, we've got some great ones. And again, apologies, I forgot to create a separate list. On Moxfield, you can create lists once you have a profile. Make sure you do that. And then simply by hitting A, if you're hovering over an image, you add it to your list. Zephyr Boots is a great one, giving our crit commander flying, and also a combat damage trigger, which gives us a looting effect as well. Moonsliver Spear can be a nice one. That's a lot to equip, though. Cloak of the Bat, though, very nice. Haste and flying, swing right away and get through as well. Cliff Haven, Kite Sail, another great one, too. Attach it right away to our commander on that ETB. Give our commander flying. These other two kind of take some building around to actually get to. Gilded Pinions, that can help ramp as well as give us flying as well. I should mention that with all these cards, I am not going to be including every single one of these that I'm adding to the list. I will curate this after the episode, essentially, and then show off a list of the finalized deck. Regardless, again, another flying and haste with Feather Sendals. That one can help us out as well. We're getting there as well, where we have more and more and more of these effects, and essentially, you want to make sure you're picking the best ones. Low to the ground equip costs can be great, like Cobbled Wings. It just costs 1 to equip. We also have Wings of Hubris, which we can sacrifice to make our commander unblockable, and then we have to sacrifice the commander, but sometimes that's going to be worth it to kind of finish out the game, so keep that in mind. Aeronaut's Wings, again, pretty low to the ground for the most part. I think that seems like a good amount. We're probably not going to get too much better. Let's just add Kite Sail in there, too. Probably not going to be too many other ones that are that much better if we're going further, but again, I only have 20 minutes and I'm already talking too much on this one. Let's talk about another kind of evasion fear. I will keep in mind as well, this is a budget channel. I'm talking about a $20 deck, so I've limited this to just 50 cents per card at the most. 5 cents per card in Grixis. Let's also add in Mask of Riddles. Quick Creature as Fear. Whenever it deals combat to a player, you may draw a card, so some nice card advantage from that as well. Let's talk about Trample really quick. One other one. I've got a couple little notes off to the side right now, just kind of showing you like my thought process while trying to get this done quickly and not look at the timer too much. Loxodon Warhammer can be a great one. Again, trample through with our commander. Again, they have to actually block a lot to do that, especially if we can add a lot of power. Sword of Vengeance can be another great one. Probably Haunted Cloak too. Let's just include that as well. And then we'll probably give it Tenza Goto's Maul as well. So again, adding additional power, adding additional ways to get through can be very good. Just one more that immediately comes to mind for me. Let's see, is Levitation actually within the budget? It is. So Levitation, an enchantment that gives all our creatures flying. That can be very nice as well, so we're not having to equip that all the time. And that's going to be time on this first part. Let's stop here. And next up, we're going to be talking about ways to give our commander power because, again, the more damage we deal to a player, the more additional upkeeps we are getting. So, yeah, let's look at some equipment that can give power as well. Blackblade Reforged, although we are not in, green, we don't have ways to land ramp really outside of Wayfarer's Bauble, which I love you. Yeah, we don't have too many ways to do that, but that being said, even just, adding 5 additional power can be massive, not only to turn our commander into an actual threat, taking opponents out with commander damage, but also, of course, getting additional power out there. Already talked about these two to actually get damage through. Cranial Plane can be a great one as well. Pumps for each artifact we control, which again, we've already shown that we're going to be using a good amount. And of course, our mana rocks are going to count toward that too. Thran Power Suit, ++1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and has Ward 2, so protects as well at the exact same time. What's not to love about that? Bloodforged Battle Axe, I can't believe this one's less than 50 cents. This used to be like $4 or $5. But yeah, an extra +2/+0, and also we can keep getting more and more copies of it when we're getting through more and more often. Talking about some other ways to do that. Heroes Blade, this one can automatically attach when our commander comes into play. So that's nice for additional +3/+2. Other than that, Heirloom Blade, are we going to be using any other Warlocks or Ogres? I don't think so. Bone Horde, though, okay. That's a decent amount to get out and equip. But throughout the game, the more and more creatures that get in graveyards, the more power this is giving. And that can be absolutely massive. Already talked about Tenza, Goto's Maul. Assault 2 doesn't really help us out. It takes too long to build up the counters on that one. Fiend Lash, yeah, that's okay as well. I'm probably taking too much time on this. Let's go Golden Skin Gauntlets as well, though. Because, again, that's going to be adding extra power for the equipment. And with that, let's just call that good for the power specifically. Okay, next up, let's talk about another way. Since we're in, red, we get a lot of ways to actually give double strike, and also some equipment too. But yes, having our commander hit twice can be amazing, because that's just twice the damage, really, and also twice the combat damage triggers too, which we have a couple. So first up, we've got Fire Shrieker, a great one to add in. Again, double strike, just hit twice as hard, simply. Temur Battle Rage can give double strike as well as trample if we've got a creature power 4 or greater, which we will with all these swivel effects. Two-handed axe can give double strike as well on the cast with adventure, and also can double up power on attacks, so keep that in mind. Twin Inferno can copy spells, or again, double strike too. Spectacular Showdown can also give double strike, and then also goad creatures essentially, so we can overload that as well to create some openings for our commander. Brass Knuckles can also give double strike. I mean, again, it can also give double strike to a second creature, essentially, if we have another equipment on that one. Gavel the Right just does take some time to actually build up. Again, we'd already talked about Eater of Virtue as well. Blood Mist can be a great one, though. Beginning of combat, on your turn, you get to give double strike to a creature. So again, even if there's just every single time our commander gets double strike, that's really all that we care about, essentially. Other than that, I'm trying to think, some of these are more one-off effects that aren't really all that impactful. I mean, they still are impactful, but not as impactful as other things might be. So I think we're just going to call it, you know what, let's throw a Raking Claws in there just in case. Again, we can cycle that away, so it does have a little bit of utility there. And then we're going to call it for time. Okay, I do want to mention that, yeah, I might miss a couple things, obviously. I'm trying to do this in a time frame, and I'm losing some seconds right now, too. So I'm definitely going to be missing some cards. Be like, why did you add this? There is going to be, a little bit of just, hey, you create this first, and then you make adjustments to it. So let's go into some upkeep triggers that we want to use and abuse with this commander. Again, the name of the game for this commander is upkeep triggers. We're going to go specifically, because there's so many of them, with enchantments first and go through some of the top ones. Thopter Spy Network, again, we're going to have artifacts in play. Get some Thopters in play. Get through its damage. Draw a lot of cards. Outpost Siege, we'll probably utilize this. I would say more so for the additional card advantage, temporary card advantage with that impulse draw, essentially. Mechanized Production, that can be a really big target, though, if we are just putting that essentially on, I don't know, one of our mana rocks, we can probably get away with that. I can't believe that's budget-friendly. Potentially WinCon, too. As foretold, yeah, cast-free spells. What's not to love about that? Building up those counters very, very quickly. It's absolutely lovely. Court of Ire, free damage, and also bringing the Monarch into play, because again, we've got ways for our commander to get through. We can keep getting that Monarch back if we need to, so additional card advantage there as well. Oversold Sedimentary, this might be a quick cut for us. It depends on how many creatures we add into the deck, essentially. But yeah, if we get a good amount of creatures in our graveyard, we can keep getting them back again, and again. Stolen Strategy, a brutal amount of additional card advantage, impulse draw off the top of our opponent's libraries as well. Yeah, that's pretty great. Cemetery Tampering can be additional great card advantage as well. Sulfuric Vortex, we're not really here for, group slug, so let's avoid that one, I would say. Rite of the Raging Storm, that can be quite nice. Again, this one can not force our opponents, but encourage our opponents to attack each other with a lightning rager that we're giving them, essentially. But we get the most lightning ragers, essentially, with this commander. And if we are using additional combats, that's when we can really utilize those. So keep that in mind. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, getting extra ones, unless we have sacrifice triggers or additional benefits like Warstorm Surge, we might not be able to take advantage of that. So it might be a quick cut depending on the build for this deck at the end. Theater of Horrors, again, essentially kind of like a stored impulse draw in a way. Just have to deal damage to actually be able to get access to those cards, which is pretty easy, or we can just pay for that too. This one, Tavern Brawler, being able to actually pump our commander with that can be absolutely huge, so keep that in mind. Visions of Phyrexia. This one's going to give us, again, additional impulse draw. If you don't use those, you get Power Stone tokens. I guess you can just use it for artifact spells, so that does help out too. And actually, equipment as well. So even though our commander doesn't have like an activated ability that we can dump mana into, this can still be massive. I mean, at a very base level, again, just additional impulse draw is huge. Curse of Unbinding, my goodness, spicy. Throw this on the player out there that has the biggest creatures in their deck, or at least you assume they have the biggest creatures in their deck, the best ones, the ones you want to steal, and just get additional upkeeps over and over and over again, getting a ton of creatures out of their deck. Let's keep going real quick. Not running out of too much time. Dark Tutelage could be a little risky. Losing a lot of life. I'll throw that in there for now, but that might be a quick cut depending on how this goes. We're not really going to be flipping a lot of coins with Chance Encounter. We're not going to be going to Snow Permanents as well. Havoc Festival, again, we're not going to be going into, what do you call it? Again, like Group Slug, essentially. Jacob Hawken. This one's interesting. I mean, where's the upkeep on this? Oh, it's on the back. There you go. So yeah, Jacob Hawken could work out because on the back side, we've got the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card life face down, and you can look at it. So you can keep getting additional free advantage out of this. And then once during your turns, you can play something for free out of that. So that can be quite nice. Ill-Gotten Inheritance. I mean, yeah, sure, like additional damage. So 1 damage each opponent, gain 1 life. For each upkeep trigger you get, each instance of upkeep. Commander's Awakening. This could be absurd card advantage for you, essentially. I mean, yeah, it can give a card advantage for your opponents as well, but it's not going to last that long because you're in Commander and you're going to get the City's Blessing in no time. So essentially, it's going to be a keep drawing more and more cards, which is absolutely lovely. Curse of Surveillance, you can add that in as well if you want to include that kind of card draw too, but that might be a quick cut as well. I think we're running toward the end of what we're definitely not going Triskei Decaphobia or Impending Disaster, which I can't believe is budget friendly, but I guess no one plays it, and for good reason. Yeah, let's probably, you know what? Additional Scry could be nice as well, depending. So Mystic Redaction, if I could talk. We'll go with that one right there. But then we're going to cut it right here, and we're going to go into, because there's a lot of other ones out there. You know what? One more really quick. I just saw it. Eyes Everywhere. More Scry right there as well. So, okay, we're going to cut it right here. We're going to go into more upkeep triggers and different kinds of permanents. Okay, a little more reasonable, only 97 artifacts that apparently have upkeep triggers, so let's keep that in mind. I should mention that I'm going through enchantments, then artifacts, then creatures in this order because that's kind of in the order in my mind on how sturdy those kinds of permanents are. Creatures are the easiest to deal with. You know, you have like Path Exile, you have like Wrath of God, those kinds of cards. Most Wraths are, you know, creature destruction. That being said, I mean, things change depending on the playgroup, but yeah, enchantments tend to be a little harder than artifacts, than creatures, in my opinion. Midnight Clock can be a mana rock as well as like a reset for us, which is absolutely lovely. Some additional card advantage. Eye of Vecna, you got to pay for it, but again, additional card advantage when you need it. Again, getting extra upkeeps, paying extra mana when you need to, and then drawing some cards. You lose some life too, but that can be worth it. Crow and Horse, we don't really care about giving our opponents creatures probably, because we don't want them to have extra blockers too. Foundry Rule, just a little bit of life gain. That's not all that great. Temporal Anchor, my goodness. Scry too, an extra card advantage essentially with that. That's absolutely amazing. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I'll add this in later. The other ring would be great though, because again, it's an upkeep trigger with the red one. I made a mistake there, but yes, the rings with the blue, black, and red rings, I'll be sure to include those as well. Let's see what else we got here. So not the Ring of Thune either. Evos Isle. I mean, I will add these in another category so I don't mess up. But yes, keep that in mind. Sun Droplet. Being able to remove charge counters from it. Yeah, that can be absolutely huge to kind of replenish your life. Again, I talked about not really leaning into life totals with this, but being able to say like, oh, you hit me, okay, I'll get these charge counters on it and quickly gain life with it, that can be a way to just say like, it's gonna be really hard for you to ever get through on me to actually really do any damage unless you kind of come at me all at once with that. Not that you're gonna be encouraging your opponents to do so. Let's see, this only gets counters on artifact creatures, unfortunately, so we're not gonna be utilizing that. We don't really care about, again, like hurting opponents with, you know, with discard, so Viceling isn't gonna be something. Lava Bring Floodgates is more so like destroying all creatures. We don't really care about that either. Fraying line counts everyone's upkeep, so don't care about that either as well. Seems like we're running out of artifacts that we really care about for the most part, so let's just move on to our next one. Yeah, unfortunately. You know what? Shrine of Loyal Legions. This could add up really quick to give us large creatures. Let's just add that one in, just to make me feel better for scrolling along this long. And now let's move into our next one. Okay, next up, let's talk about artifacts, and I took out Echo as well. That's the extra cost. We don't care about Echo in this as well. So here we go. We've got, if I could add this properly, I'm making mistakes everywhere, excuse me. Padim, Council of Innovation. So this one can protect our artifacts, which again, we have a lot of. And also if we have high converted mana cost artifacts, the highest one, which we might. We've got a lot in the deck. We can get a lot of card advantage out of this. Skyline Depot can make us a ton. Depot. Despot can make us a ton of dragons. Forgotten Creation can help us cycle through our deck in absolutely no time. Basically like, hey, do you like your hand? No, upkeep trigger. Awesome. Get rid of your hand, replace it every single time, which is absolutely lovely. Necrogoyf, don't really care too much about that. We don't want to make sure that we're discarding cards. That would be not good for us. I mean, if you want to just like take everyone down to no cards, cool. But you kind of got to be set up to actually take advantage of that. Sizon, we don't really want to give opponents card advantage either with that. Although we do get the most advantage out of it. This one I'll include just in case, okay? That's going to be a just in case, all right? Let's go on to the Overlord. We don't care about sacrificing things consistently. Yeah, Sin Prodder can be very good, essentially for initial card advantage as well, or damage, depending on what our opponents want to do with that. We don't care about Master of Death and getting that one back either. Wildfire Devils. This one is just, yeah, getting things at random. What's not to love about that? Same, all the Devils are. Charmbreaker Devils, you can get a lot of random value out of them potentially. Thieving Amalgam doesn't really help us on our own upkeeps. Unfortunately, it's opponent's upkeep, so keep that in mind. Ruthless Winnower doesn't really help us. That would hurt us more so, actually, so keep that in mind as well. Braids is a bit spicy. Depends on kind of how you want to go about it. Like, Braids can be detrimental to you potentially, but also if you're the one who is getting the most upkeeps, which you are, getting to cheat and play artifacts, creatures, lands from your hand, and the most of them, you can really take advantage of that. Make sure you're set up properly, but once you are, really go at it with this. The Asylum Visitor is dependent upon other factors essentially, so I wouldn't pick that one. Shapeshifter, yeah, I mean, being able to actually clone things could be nice too, and being able to flip it back. Let's just throw that one in. Might get a cut though. Let's see what else we got. Plague Reaver. No, that's not really like a repeatable one for us as well. The Ninth Doctor, potentially. This one, again, we have ways to get creatures through. We have multiple ways to get creatures through. We can help this one out too. The Ninth Doctor, having it attack, or another way to tap potentially, but whenever it comes on tap, we get an extra upkeep. So that's nice. Just getting extra ones out there is very nice for us. Archfiend the Dross, no, don't worry about oil counters essentially at this point. We already talked about Jacob Hawken. Let's see. Realist card in hand. The beginning upkeep scry 1. Let's throw Sphinx of Foresight out there as well. Additional card selection for us too. I think, oh, there we go. Magmatic Force. There we go. So this one is absolutely massive. We can upkeep, deal 3 damage to any target. So dishing out an absurd amount of damage. Hey, Obeka. Obeka's here too. Dishing out damage like that. Guys, the Archives, again, some nice additional scry for us there as well. I think we're kind of running out of pieces right now at this point, though there's probably a lot of other great ones further down the list, but right now, again, I'm running out of time too, so let's just cut it right there. Okay, when it comes to additional combat, less than 50 cents. We don't have too many options out there. Thanks a lot, Ishin, for becoming so popular. Scourge of the Throne can be one, though, essentially for attacking a player that's got the most life or tied for the most life. You can get extra combats, which is absolutely lovely. So yeah, getting extra combat again means extra damage from our commander. And also, again, we've got extra combat damage triggers that might occur as well, so keep that in mind. So yeah, helps us take out players. A Cyclonus can actually help, I believe, the backside. Again, whenever it deals combination to a player, convert it. If you do, additional beginning phase after this phase, so we can actually get additional upkeeps. This isn't extra combat, but it is extra as well, so it's popping up here. Lovely, so keep that in mind too. Other than that, yeah, not really any additional combats as well. I was thinking that we might see one more, but unfortunately at this budget, not so. But again, we've got a lot of ways to take advantage of the upkeeps already. Moving on, card advantage. Just a reminder, Scryfall is absolutely amazing. Oracle tag, just use an Oracle tag. Type in card advantage, you see what kind of cards have been tagged that way. Let's just add in some great ones. Again, we do have some upkeep trigger ones that we already add card advantage, so I'll just kind of add some in there, and then I'll cut it down, obviously. But usually you want to go around 10, maybe a little more card advantage kind of cards. Faithless Looting is great for some looting. Frantic Search, also looting, but free. Throw Possibility, additional cards, essentially. Village Rites, don't really want to sacrifice creatures. Sign in Blood, great, absolutely. Opt doesn't really give us enough card advantage, in my opinion. Read the Bones, dig down in your deck, absolutely. The Cost of Life, that's okay. Factor Fiction, a staple. Treasure Cruise, a fantastic one as well. Dig Through Time, yeah, I mean, I guess, again, I just did this with Treasure Cruise as well. We might have enough cards in our graveyard, depending on kind of the full build and what we're going for. Distant Melody, we're not really going for anything, you know, creature-based when it comes to the same type. Cathartic Union as well when it comes to digging down. Tezzer's Gambit, I mean, we're not going to really have too many different counter effects out there. Pull from Tomorrow, we need extra kind of mana into that. Painful Truce, a fantastic one. Lose 3 life, draw 3 cards. That's absolutely crazy. Seize the Spoils, give us additional treasure, which is absolutely nice. Tormenting Voice. Sorcery Speed, we already have other ones that are better. Mystic Confluence, we have a counterspell kind of built in with this too, so keep that in mind depending on your playgroup, depending on kind of how you like to build decks. I typically don't include too many counterspells in mine, but you might in yours as well, so yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, let's just kind of stop right there. We'll throw on Expressive Iteration. It's a good one as well, so we'll stop right there. Moving on, when it comes to removal, let's add in some cards as well. And again, some of our upkeep triggers, some of our things we already talked about do have removal. We'll cut it down. Don't worry about that. Chaos Warp, I can't believe that's less than 50 cents. Feed the Swarm as well, a Braid. Again, very flexible. Removal spells can be great for this one. Terminate's still very good, obviously, even though it's specific. Rakdos Charm, Bedevil. Getting rid of creatures, getting rid of artifacts. That's typically what we're going to see in these. Bouncing effects as well are ones that we can use too. So let's actually throw that in really quick. I'm losing time. I only have like a minute left. Aether Gale. Oh, goodness. I guess Aetherize can help us out as well, but also Aether Gale and Aether Spouts. We'll cut it down too. Let's do some, oh, goodness, Decree of Pain, I think popped up in my mind too. So let's do Decree of Pain as well. And let's cut it because I'm running out of time. Only 40 seconds left for my last one. Okay, so we are down to the wire right now, 38 seconds. Let's quickly add in some mana rocks and some other things as well. Arcane Signet. Mirror Landscape, again, like, I'll keep the lands pretty simple, but if you want to throw out some lands that can help ramp, like Mirror Landscape, do so. Mind Stone, Commander Sphere, Wayfarer's Bauble, the Talismans, the Signets, whatever are in there. Everflowing Chalice, again, I guess I already add in something that's colorless, but you might want to add in not too many of those because you do need some fixing. So the Signets, Foundry Inspector, probably not. Hedron Archive, again, we probably want a little more fixing that. We can add in the diamonds, though, really quick. Let's throw those in. Corrosion Verge does not help us out with this deck. I'm running out of time. Already have one Midnight Clock in there as well. And no, we're out of time. Okay, so again, this was the very first run through for a 20 for 20. I thought it was fun. I had a good time. Yeah, trying to build a deck, again, in a small budget. Again, $20. Again, my typical budget's around 25, a little bit less depending on the cards, and we'll see where this one actually ends up. I'm going to keep it less than 20 according to Moxfield if I can, based on the cards I added in. I will be cutting some things down. I'll put the final list. Now, maybe I'll do like a little scrolling action or something like that with the actual list of cards, but I will have the actual list of cards in the deck list in the description below. I hope that you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear your feedback from this, kind of just giving my, thoughts quickly, but showing that you can build a deck. You just throw things together quickly and make adjustments in the future. You're like, okay, wait, you know what? That wasn't a good idea. Or wait, maybe I missed something. Maybe go check EDH Rec afterwards. Like, oh, okay, this was an obvious include. Oh, good thing I didn't add that one in. Or, yeah, it was okay to add that one in. So yeah, double check yourself, send your list to your friends, maybe try this out yourself as well. Give yourself a little challenge, a 20 for 20. So yeah, let me know your thoughts are on this in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.